Charter Local Edition with your host, John MacDonald.
Hello and welcome. We are visiting today with Matt Vincent, who is the Chief Executive of Butte, Silver Bow County. Welcome, Matt. Appreciate you taking some time today.
Always a pleasure. Good to see you, John.
Thank you. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in Butte. I know you've had a lot of activity, a lot of construction, and a lot of economic development down there. Tell folks a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, things are going well. Very busy right now in Butte. In fact, we got our reappraisal values back. Things are looking good as far as our property values. They look to have gone up about 7.5% across the board, and we're doing in the midst of doing more construction both on the public and private sector side than I think we've done in several decades in Butte.
You mentioned the property taxes. Had they previously been stagnant for quite a period of time?
The property values.
Excuse me.
Well, the reappraisal. Yeah, we've been on a the slow and steady blip in there, and
sure.
Butte's one of those places where we never see the big spikes and the big drops, and we just kind of toe a line. Well, the line went up this time, which is certainly one indication that things are picking up. But we've got over $100 million worth of construction going right now. I mean, the big projects are we're completing a new general office headquarters for Northwestern Energy right in the heart of our uptown. It's a $20+ million project. And then on the peripheries of town for public infrastructure, we have got a $34 million wastewater treatment plant that is in the midst of construction, and we just broke ground earlier this year on a $30+ million water treatment plant out in the south part of town for Basin Creek. Next year we'll be breaking ground on a brand new airport terminal. So things are going well.
A lot's going on. Anybody familiar with Butte knows that for quite a while you've been working on cleanup there from the decades of mining that occurred in Butte. And specifically, one of the things that recently has been wrapping up, or is close to wrapping up, is a lot of the work that's been done on Butte Silver Bow Creek. Silver Bow Creek. Tell folks about that.
Yeah, it's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I guess I can't really say what the natives used to call Silver Bow Creek.
Probably not.
But back to what I was saying about wastewater, yeah, it was along those lines. But yeah, it was an industrial sewer for over 100 years, probably one of the most infamously contaminated waters in the western United States, if not beyond that. And so 16 years ago, as kind of the headlining project to come out of the state of Montana's lawsuit against Atlantic Richfield Company, who inherited all of the Anaconda Company's prior messes. They started the cleanup of Silver Bow Creek, which basically an environmental restoration project of global scale and significance. We rebuilt the floodplain on 30 miles of stream channel, and that Silver Bow Creek, for folks who don't know it, is the headwaters of the Clark Fork River, Clark Fork of the Columbia River. So we're the northeastern headwaters of the Clark Fork River, and that cleanup started 16 years ago. We've completed all 26 miles of that project, and now the state of Montana is just going back in and doing some touch-up on some areas that kind of may have been skimmed over on the way. But it's a big deal, and the governor, he has announced that the very first mile, which it's not really a flowing creek, but it is part of Silver Bow Creek. There's about 1 million cubic yards, which is 1 million truckloads of waste material that it's still buried in the headwaters area, and we'll start that final piece of the cleanup this next summer, hopefully. So.
It's interesting. Not only did they address the environmental side of it, but they've actually restored the creek, put in a lot of the twists and turns back into it, and made it. I mean, if you go and look at it now, it's amazing the difference from 10, 15 years ago.
And that's just seeing is believing. The real benefit is a creek that used to be devoid of all aquatic life.
Yeah.
it's my oldest and youngest son's favorite fishing spot now. You can go down there and catch some really nice West Slope cutthroat trout. So.
I think I may have seen a video of you pulling a fish out of there not too long ago.
Yeah, I've gotten a few moments of fame with my fly rod down there. So.
Yeah. Another thing we should talk about too in relation to Butte is you've kind of become a destination spot in ways for festivals. You've got a folk festival, Evel Knievel festival, an Irish festival. Talk a little bit about those and the success and where they're at.
Yeah, it's really about going back to your strengths. Butte's always kind of been known, starting with the St. Patrick's Day festivities, always been known as a great place to celebrate. And 15 years ago now, this coming July was the first Evel Knievel Days, which was a 3-day festival to celebrate Butte's most famous son with a whole bunch of crazy stunts and daredevilry and whatnot. Shortly after Knievel Days started, we had a group of folks in Butte seeing the potential in doing what we do best, and that's celebrate. And so they put in a bid, and we were lucky enough to land the National Folk Festival, and hosted that for 3 years, which has since turned into the Montana Folk Festival. And now this will be the 9th consecutive year that we have opened our doors and hosted over 100,000 people to come take in the revelry of the Montana Folk Festival, and followed by Evel Knievel Days, and finished off by the Henri Ra or Montana Irish Festival.
Right.
So.
Henri Ra is the only one I haven't been to yet. I've managed to get to the Folk Festival, and a couple of years ago, I think before Evel Knievel's death, I went down there with my old Evel Knievel lunchbox and tried to get him to sign it. Didn't have any luck, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry you missed him.
Yeah, what's the date for the Folk Festival this year?
The Folk Festival is always the weekend after the 4th of July, which the 3rd and 4th of July, we call it our Freedom Festival, is quite the event in and of itself. So that's right at Folk Festival is right after the Freedom Festival, and then we take a week off, and the fourth weekend in July is Evel Knievel Days.
Right.
And then the Irish Festival is usually the second weekend in August.
Busy summer in Butte, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Lots of fun, though.
Yeah.
We invite you to always come.
I'll try to hit them all this year. Matt, appreciate your time. We have been visiting with Matt Vincent, the Chief Executive of Butte Silver Bow County. Appreciate you taking some time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Charter Local Edition has been an exclusive presentation of Charter Communications, providing original programming.